All right, now to that massive oil gusher in the Gulf of Mexico. Earlier estimates on the amount of oil were wrong. BP now admits the leak is worse than they initially thought. A pipe inserted in the broken well this week is pumping out 210,000 gallons a day. Well, that was the original estimate for the total spewing into the Gulf. The actual amount could be several times that much. The White House is ordering BP to release all of its findings on the massive oil leak. That includes information on the cleanup, the investigation, and the environmental tests. The EPA is now telling BP to change the chemical dispersants. The government agency wants BP to choose something less toxic now. CNN's Ed Lavandera has more on one alternative that is all ready to go.
Hundreds of containers are just sitting here in the Houston sun. To some, it's just another example of the mismanagement of the oil spill. The containers are full of a chemical dispersant called Sebrat-4. Why is it sitting here and not in the ocean instead? No one really knows, especially since BP's on record as saying it would use the stuff.
We also have a second product now identified to use called Sebrat-4, which we'll begin introducing into the process as well.
That's what BP said almost a week ago, but we found the Sebrat-4 just sitting here in an industrial park outside of Houston, Texas. You're looking at it, almost 100,000 gallons of the less toxic dispersant. Guess who ordered it? BP did on May 4th, almost 3 weeks ago.
This is Sebrat. It's in totes, ready for delivery.
John Sheffield is president of the company that makes Sebrat-4. Do you think it's weird that the stuff's just sitting here in the Houston area?
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You know, I think something's intentionally trying to stop us from getting our product in the water.
EPA and Coast Guard officials say there's nothing stopping BP from using Sebrat-4. Sheffield says that by now he could be making 50 to 100,000 gallons of dispersant a day. But a BP spokesman will only say the company had to use what was readily available and stockpiled, and it has been asked to find alternatives to the current dispersant corrects it, and that's what they're in the process of doing. Getting a direct answer is even hard for Congress to get, as they grilled BP executive Lamar McKay this week about the issue.
Who decided which dispersant to use? BP?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know the individual who decided which.
I didn't ask the individual. Was it the BP who decided, or was it the government who decided, or the National Incident Command?
I don't know.
You don't know. Could you find out for us, please?
Yes.
Easier said than done. There's still no word on who's making that call, while 100,000 gallons of potential help sits hundreds of miles away.
No, I understand.
All right, Ed Lavandera joins us now live from Pasadena, Texas. So how much of this dispersant, has been used up to this point?
Well, so far, according to the latest information we have, more than 650,000 gallons of dispersant have been used on the surface of the Gulf of Mexico, and about 55,000 gallons have been used underwater. Of course, the great concern here is that the long-term effects, environmental effects of this, by most accounts that we've been able to hear, are really unknown. People just don't know what kind of reaction any of these dispersants will have at that depth, 5,000 feet under the water in the Gulf of Mexico. Frederica?
All right, Ed Lavandera, thanks so much from Pasadena, Texas. All right, the chemical combination BP has been using is among the more toxic choices. It can cause skin or eye irritation if you are exposed to it for prolonged periods. BP says it's biodegradable, but there is still concern over the impact that it could have on the environment. So coming up later on in the newsroom, scientists are examining the environmental impact out in the Gulf, and we tag along as they follow bluefin tuna and whale sharks fighting to survive the Gulf oil disasters. That's straight ahead at 9:40 Eastern Time this morning.